Welcome back to AV Veterans Talk. We're continuing our conversation with this week's guest, Jodi Champagne. Hey, Jodi, we're back here. So we were talking about your journey, with your emotional photography and working with the homeless areas there. And we talk about homeless vets. You've obviously come across them
on
the field.
Yes.
And did you actually go out and shoot like in their encampments, or did you just work around the Grace Resource? How did that work? I mean, I think you got to burn the trust. So you're going out in the
Right.
into their community, and
Well, in that aspect, I would actually be on the streets.
you'd be on the streets.
On the streets with them, not
Yeah.
in any. It's basically where they
I got you.
live and spend.
So
their
as they're
time.
making their way through the day,
Right.
stuff. It's not where they're in their private space,
That's correct. That's
stuff.
correct.
I got you. So, and anybody in those journeys really kind of trip your, thought pattern to like, wow, this is really tragic. Or this is, and I'm not here trying to sell tragic
Right.
video or whatever, but I mean something that says like, God, we got to do better.
Well, that was my senses overall with everyone,
Right.
and that, but it did tug more for me in regards to the veterans.
Yeah.
Because that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And I understand through the journeys that I've been through, I understand now more so then of how they got there.
Yeah.
And I feel we really need to have something in place for, even though they've been, on the streets for so many years, they can't be forgotten,
Yeah.
and we need to take care of them.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to show and do, and with everything, because with the work that I've been doing, I'm trying to show society, shall we say, that the emotions behind that person.
Yeah.
They just see an elderly person and don't think anything of it, but to find out that what that person has gone through, they would be shocked.
Yeah.
And then their opinion of them will change.
Right.
And I think that's the same thing for the ones on the street.
Yeah.
People walk by just thinking that they're, person, not understanding why they're in this position.
Right.
They fought 3, times in, 3 tours in Vietnam.
Right.
And it's really hard.
I know. It's funny because the Tom Hanks had a great story to say before he got involved with the World War II generation, and it all came to a elevator operator in San Francisco. This guy was there every morning, this older gentleman, and he was just running the elevator. And one day Tom Hanks, said like, so what's your deal and stuff? And he goes, well, I'm a World War II vet, and I fought here and I fought there, and that's that. And that's it. Like Tom Hanks, the light went on.
Right.
I go, this is just the elevator guy that every morning is like, good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am, And you realize this guy has this great, huge backstory
Right.
of patriotism and stuff, but people didn't know that, So
Yeah.
your projects do bring that forth, to where you see the face, the person that looks just like the average run-of-the-mill guy, and here's this amazing backstory, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and so, you and I used to hang out at the veterans home, and you were always using me as a resource, which is good because I know all these vets, and you were looking for subject matter, and I was always happy to pass them off to you because I know you would treat them with respect and dignity, and there and stuff. And some of them are still pretty, how would I say, closed off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
When
yes.
you interview a veteran, how do you break through that wall? How do you build that confidence between you and your subject matter?
Well, it's kind of like you and I right now, just except for without the lights and without the, I had one little camera kind of off to the side, and I
Right.
just sit and talk and
Yeah.
and have a normal conversation, and
Yeah.
and I show that I care, and that I'm not out to get them,
Yeah.
and just be more of a friend.
Yeah.
In some instances, their daughter or granddaughter.
Right. Will be.
And I think that kind of getting that level of personal, kind of helps them, and I think they understand that I'm not going to judge them,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to interfere with what they had done or been through.
Yeah.
And because when I talk to them, I tell them, no filter.
Yeah.
Tell it like it is.
Yeah.
And I think by doing that, help them because they don't, they didn't have to fear about being politically correct.
Yeah.
So with all those walls away,
Yeah.
and I think enabled them to be able to talk to me.
Yeah.
And that, and now I kind of understand how they felt when I interviewed them.
Right, exactly. You do.
Yeah.
Well, it's always a good thing, and this probably sounds like the sexist thing, but I go, being interviewed by a nice-looking blonde lady and stuff and everything is always a big plus. That puts them at ease, and stuff. You go like, wow, it's not that Bob guy, he's pretty rough, looking. But, so it's all good.
Oh yeah, no.
So we'll take our next break here. When we come back, we'll get into your series of books, Diminishing Generations. Okay, and the technology that you tapped into there to make the stories become more alive than just a book read. It's actually an interaction with you as the person, looking at the source there to where, wow, this is, like you said, it's live and it's what was the word you used? It was
unfiltered.
Unfiltered.
Yeah.
Unfiltered like that. So we'll be right back and we'll get into that. Thanks.
Right.
I'm Bob Alvis, and thanks for joining us for this segment of AV Veterans Talk.